Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Welcome along to another season review. I think we're up to number 18 by now, going through every championship team. Why did I promise to do this? I'm doing it. We're getting there and we are up to QPR now. There is the playlist. Maybe your team is in there, but stay and watch this one or hit pause and come back if you can see your team in there. We're going to have a detailed look at QPR's season. And I was in a position where I was working in West London for much of last season, so I did see QPR a fair few times. QPR are a club that have been a staple in the Championship. However, 3 years in the Premier League between 2011 and 2014-15 there, and that last relegation spot where Neil Warnock turns up, if you can there, but relegated down 4 seasons ago, and the last of the 4-year split of parachute payments there. So they have run out now going into this past season, and some retooling needs to happen. There you can see 25 million, 31 million, weird old deal that, 16 million, 17 million, and they've finally run out. People say I'm obsessed by these parachute payments, but look, they are a big advantage. And if you are a team that has them, it is very relevant when they run out, because you literally have to retool. That's one of your biggest incomes. I guess the analogy would be, imagine your wages all of a sudden halved. You might need to maybe change where you shop and change the car loan or whatever. And QPR certainly having to make big operational decisions to cope with this and survive in the Championship. Just quickly, going back there, the trend downwards though, look, 12th, 18th, 16th, 19th since they've been down. And a fair few managers there. Chris Ramsey, the first, Neil Warnock, held the hot seat for a month there, kept it warm for Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. Then he does a year, doesn't work out. Iain Holloway does 3 years. Then Steve McLaren, some venerable Championship names here. And Mark Warburton, ex of Brentford, Forest and Glasgow Rangers, comes in for this last season. That is what he was left by, Steve McLaren. Now, remember, that's not obviously the team that Steve McLaren played every game. That's a who scored projection, highest appearances for each position displayed there. But it gives us a fair idea there. Lumley, a young keeper. Bidwell, Lynch, Leisner, Rangel, Freeman, Scowen, Luongo, Voslek. Goodbye to a lot of them. Eze, a breakthrough season for him. And Naki Wells in on loan for Rangers the previous season. So that's what we're going from and to. We're talking about a new manager, maybe a financial retooling because of the parachute payments going, and we get a giant turnover here for Queen's Park Rangers. Most prevalently at the top there, look, 5 million quid for the most creative player there. Luke Freeman, Darnell Furlong, a good youngster, out to a Championship rival. Massimo Longo, out to a Championship rival. Jordan Cousins, out to a Championship rival as well. There, West Brom, Sheffield Wednesday and Stoke picking up those players. Then a bit of a clear out there. Lukote, Baptiste, Lynch, Wheeler, Smith, all going down the pyramid. Bidwell, out to a Championship rival. Ingram, out to a Championship rival. Voslek, back to Poland. Dieng out on loan. And Matt Smith as well, out to a Championship rival. So not a case of these players aren't good enough, more a case of can we cash in? Does Warburton want them? How many times did I say out to a Championship rival? But money raised, squad spaces filled up, wages freed up, and here is what Warburton did. And you're going to see a pattern here, as in players from big clubs, young players that have been trained from big clubs coming in for free. He's going to go to Scotland to pick up players that he worked with maybe up there or he encountered up there. And important loans. The Championship now is the home of the important loan. Everybody who goes up does it. So there's Liam Kelly. That's the only fee up there in from Livingston. And the other one in from Scotland there, Lee Wallace as well. Then Brentford and Johan Barbe. Well, he knows him there. Todd Kane. A Chelsea youngster, Connor Masterson, a Liverpool youngster, Luke Amos on loan, a Tottenham youngster, Matt Smith on loan, a Man City youngster. So there are the young players trained by big clubs trying to cash in on hopefully their excellent education they've been given there. Dominic Ball in from Rotherham. Jeff Cameron experience, Mark Pugh experience, and then the loanees, and we're obviously looking at Hugel and Wells, players who have left championship clubs for £9 million and £5 million. If you can't afford to buy them, loan them. But remember, QPR now first year in 4 years without parachute payments. They're not going to be spending any big fees, and he's going to cobble that into a team, Mark Warburton, and they're going to start very well. Look at that, a 4-game win streak through late August and September. I was at the 4th game there at Millwall, a nice looking 3-5-2, Eze involved. You had Manning as one wing back, Kane as the other, Wells and Hugel, I think, played up front, or definitely obviously a front two and a 3-5-2 there. All looking good there. Another back-to-back wins, and what you'll start to see is look at the goals for and against. A 4-2 win, a 3-2 win, a 3-2 win, a 3-1 win, a 3-1 defeat, a 3-0 defeat. You can see the goals are flying in. They are creative, attacking, but they're open. What you giveth at one end, you take away at the other. But a very good start for Rangers there after 12 games, which is pretty much a quarter of the season, just over. 5th position. Look at that. 21 goals scored, 21 goals against. So literally teams around them with a 10 or 9 goal difference advantage after only 12 games. But they know how to win games. You can see early on in the season, there's 7 wins tied with Leeds and West Brom, who are going to both go up automatically. And they're QPR in 5th position. Good start by Warburton. Is it sustainable, though, to stay in the playoff positions, having conceded 21 goals in your first 12 games? I think we know the answer to that. And a few things coming home to roost there. Look at that horrible run. 3 points in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The next 7 games. Really bad. It's going to see them slide down the table there. And I was at a few of these games. The Reading game and the Brentford game. I was at. I was at lots of them, wasn't I? And that big home defeat to Forest, which maybe informed Warburton, look, going to have to maybe have a change of tack here, despite the fact there's another 5-3 defeat coming. Back-to-back wins in there, but generally going up to Christmas, a really, really poor run. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I think have I got 13 games in there? Only 2 wins in there, having won 7 of the first 12. So maybe the momentum and the good start and everything sort of running out there as we come into Christmas. And look, 5th place has turned into 15th place. And just look at the goals against there. That is your year-end table. 47 conceded in 25. Big problems. And only Luton at that point, who had a 7-goal game, a 7-0 defeat at Brentford, hadn't they? Only Luton, am I right? Yeah, with more goals conceded. So an obvious problem. I suppose we give Warburton some credit for the start and a whole new sort of first team coming in. But the goals against, a big problem. With that being said, out goes Tony Leisner, who's a very good aerial centre-half, and Josh Scowen. So, you know, talking about that Steve McLaren team, particularly that midfield of Voslek, Freeman, Scowen and Luongo, all gone, all bombed out. Leisner was a Ian Holloway sort of favourite as well. But the big one there, Narky Wells, look, he is going to go back to Burnley and then be sold to Bristol City right at the back end of the transfer window. I think even possibly like January the 30th, he went the loan end in there on the 27th, you can see. But that does inform what's about to happen next. Jack Clark comes in on loan from Spurs. He'd been obviously a star at Leeds the previous season. Big deal out to Spurs. Loaned back to Leeds, just didn't work out. Couldn't get on the pitch at all. And in the end, he's not going to do a great deal for QPR either. So net loss in that transfer window. Remember, they do still have Hugel, but no big man, little man possible partnership there. And you can see Wells leaves in amidst 3 straight defeats. But as we go up to lockdown, they managed to get it going again. Look, a really nice run there. Draw, win, draw, win, draw, win. That will give you 2 points per game, won't it, by definition? Good away win at Preston in there. Drawing away at Forest with a clean sheet. Playoff team there, and away at QPR. Big win over Stoke, Warburton Classic there, a 4-4-2. And I'm sorry, I don't have the lockdown table there, but as you can see, after lockdown, they're on the beach really, aren't they, in that sort of mid-table position. No late charge and a horrible run there. 5 defeats in 6, only that away win at Borough into the bargain. They were involved in both ends of the table. You can see they're drawing with Luton in Luton's run to survive, then beating Millwall in Millwall's run, essentially stopping Millwall's run towards the playoffs with 1 game to go. And then in that classic last day of the season, played a really big part in that, taking the lead twice at West Brom, including just a filthy goal from Eze to really put the cat amongst the pigeons. Did they take the lead twice in that? They definitely took the lead once. I think maybe that was an equaliser. Forgive me there. Eze scored, but such a brilliant goal as well there. So that was the end of season. And that was the team for QPR. A mid-table, excuse me, I really should have got it up. 13th place. Sorry, let me just get it up really, really quickly. Sorry, how thoroughly unprofessional of me. I just pull it up on my phone really, really quickly, he says, as it loads. A 13th placed finish. Obviously, Wigan would have finished 13th without the minus 12, so just outside the top half. Based on this team here, Liam Kelly in goal, so that was a good signing. The ageing Rangel, but you can start to see some assets coming through, particularly Ryan Manning at left back. Barbe, decent there. Grant Hall has, however, already gone, we know, to go and work with Neil Warnock. Cameron and Ball, that doesn't take into account Amos, the who scored projection there. He's now signed as well, fully. So you can see a few things being addressed already. But then, the key area, that 3 off the front, Eze, Chair and Samuel, well, we'll talk about them in just a sec. Hugel in the end after Wells leading the line. That needs to be replaced, but Lyndon Dykes is already in. So they have done some business already. I always try and come up with some bullet points when we're analysing the season. And here are those for QPR. First of all, a new manager. I always think you have to look at year 2 of the plan to really judge a manager, particularly in the Championship where there's so much chaos going on around managers that, you know, if you can outlast all of these teams that will, statistically half of the Championship, or at least 10 teams, will have new managers at some point next season, which is an insane thought, but it will happen. Warburton coming in his first season, really, really good start, a 13th place finish. Can they then move forward on from that? And it was very, very much a new squad, wasn't it? Particularly when you see the tearing up of Steve McLaren's midfield that he used with Freeman sold, Luongo sold to the Premier League and to Championship rivals, Scowen going down to Sunderland and Voslek back to Poland, and everything rebuilt with people like Ball and Amos coming in there. And really the rise of Ryan Manning and Eze now as a top Championship player, and Chair and Samuel getting more minutes. So that needed development, and that needed this season, didn't it? No more parachute payments is a big thing. You're taking that advantage away. Obviously the 4th year is the lowest payment you receive, but as a club you have to operate differently if 17 million quid is coming off your balance sheet in broadcast money. Open and attractive, well, that was the start. And we've seen this with Warburton as well. It didn't work out at Forest. Mr. Marianakis got twitchy fingers. But what we'll say with Warburton is if you let him see it through, I do think there is a strong upside here. And he did tweak in the second half of the season, but you're never going to change him. It is going to be attacking and open and lots of goals for and lots of goals against. We'll see how they go next season with that. Borrowed assets, well, that's not a bad thing. Look, in the Championship, I say everyone borrows. And look at the teams that went up. West Brom, Dean Garner and Pereira are probably the two best players, both loaned with an option on Pereira. Look at Leeds, Harrison borrowed, White borrowed, Costa borrowed and then converted. Obviously Harrison will be converted as well. And then the playoff winners as well. Fulham, Knockout borrowed and converted. Cavaliero borrowed and converted. Reed borrowed as well. I'm sure I'm missing others out. So that's no bad thing. However, the issue with Wells and him being recalled and sold halfway through the season was a little bit of a killer, because you could see Warburton had him pegged as the chief striker there. But Hugill, no slouch in the Championship. I've put on the beach there. They did have a bad finish, didn't they? You do worry about mid-table Championship teams who are kind of neither there nor there with a few games to go. I think that did colour the finish, and that run of 4 defeats in 5 essentially costing them the top half finish, which would have looked a lot better. And I've put here, the future lies with Eze, Samuel and Chair. Now, I don't mean that they're now going to build a team around them and develop all three of them, because it does seem fairly obvious that Eze is going to go. That's no bad thing. You know, I always say, look, you can sell in the Championship. It's not the end of the world, provided that, you know, you recruit well, you retool, you reinvest the money, and you use it to, if you are going down the recruitment route, you use it to compete with teams with that big financial muscle. Obviously, Watford, Norwich and Bournemouth now all with a 42 million parachute payment going into their coffers. And again, for those people who like to argue with me, I'm not saying that money is theirs just to spend, but of course, do you want more money coming in or less money coming in? You want more money coming in. So I think they'll retool with the sale of Eze. And they're not just going down the recruitment side. As I say, you can get promoted with muscle, you can get promoted with good recruitment, you can get promoted with good coaching as well. And I think Warburton is one guy who is hot on pattern of play and coaching. So you would think QPR can improve and get into that top half with a further improvement in level of pattern of play. With recruitment, obviously, Amos has already come in and Dykes has already come in to replace Hugill. So some recruitment has already been done. But if you mix that recruitment and pattern of play, you can move up the table. It's just how much do they miss Eze? They certainly weren't a one-man team, but he certainly was a great player. Look, he hasn't gone yet, but there's still going to be Chair and Samuel there, you would think, although big links with Bright Samuel going off to play in Belgium. So that would be my thoughts on QPR, how the season went, how they can improve next season. And let me know what you think, whether they will improve, go upwards or downwards next season, what the sale of Eze, if it happens, might mean. Certainly you would rather be managed by a guy with a good pattern of play when you have a star player leaving, because that negates some of the things lost by the absence of that guy. How do you think they're going to do next season? Let me know what you think in the comments. As ever, I come from a position of respect. I do not support QPR, but I've done my research. I've seen them play a few times. Sometimes we get fans of teams, and frankly, they just don't want anyone who doesn't support their team and, you know, bang the emotional drum about their team. They don't want them talking about them. So if you're one of those people, you probably stopped watching about 10 minutes ago. But please try and make your comments sensible and understand that I do come from a position of respect here. And as always, I say, if you feel you know more than me or other commenters, use your QPR fandom and position of knowledge as a platform to educate me and the other commenters, rather than trying to tear us down and yell at us, which often happens on social media when you're not a fan of a team. You can support the channel here on YouTube. Hit the like button. Get involved in the comments. No need to be a prick. I know we've got loads of good subscribers here who aren't, but often we do pull in the odd person who can't cope with communication via internet channels with other human beings. Please hit the subscribe button. We're up to 11,500 subscribers now. Fantastic. You can join our fantasy league there over at Fantasy Premier League. There is the code T5QBR0. You can subscribe via Patreon. Why would you do that? Well, you would do that for a couple of reasons. One is to help out a fellow football lover, i.e. me, who doesn't have a job next season, is trying to make a go of YouTube. For $3, you can do that. That's basically a donation, $3 per month. For $5, you get to help me, but you do get some extra content, Patreon-only Q&As and Patreon-only vlogs over there. It's going really, really well and growing nicely. Thank you, everybody. All of these videos, I don't often put the Q&As and the big sprawling long 3-hour match reviews, watch-alongs up, but all of this type of content will go down my feed as a podcast, so you can subscribe on Acast, there, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to listen while you're driving or going for a run or riding your bike or working in a factory or whatever, and you load your earphones in, then please subscribe via the podcast. And if you do run a small or large business, you can sponsor the channel and try and hasten my journey to making a living out of this, or at least a part-time living. You can get me at Benjamin Bloom Music, 2 M's in a row there, at gmail.com. But this is not all about me. This should be about QPR in the main, this video. So get your comments on Rangers season, my take on it, give me your take on it. Again, don't have to be a jerk. It doesn't have to be a debate with a winner and a loser. We can have a discussion. Sorry, I'm banging that drum heavily today, aren't I? Get your comments in, and I will see you on the next video. Over and out.